Well, hello there and welcome to the final challenge in this year's Christmas Challenge Stampathon. It has been an absolute whirlwind and I've enjoyed all the months of participation and seeing all the wonderful creations you guys have come up with after seeing our, attempt at inspiring you to get on with your Christmas makes. So I'm really pleased to announce that this final month in October 25th, we are making decorations. Now you can interpret that however you want. We suggest you please make at least 4. You can make as many as you want. You're all using Stampin' Up product, and we'd love to see what you come up with. So for my decorations, I decided to go a little bit detailed to kind of go the extra mile, seeing as it's the last challenge for this year. And I've done some decorations combining a few different techniques. So I coloured in the Joy stamp from the Joy and Noel stamp set, and here I am showing you how to do something a little bit different, how to use a framelit die to cut out a shape. But what do you do when that image is actually bigger than the die? Now, I'm not saying all of the image, but parts of the image. What happens when you've got things protruding from the circumference of the die that you're using? Well, this is what you do. Now, you've just seen me draw around the oval framelit just now. And I've drawn 2 lines, one in the centre and one around the edge. And I have cut up to the inner line where different elements have protruded. So if you need to sort of see how I did that again, do go back and watch this part of the video just to be clear on what I have done. So when I've cut different elements, I then place the oval die onto my piece of cardstock, but as you can see, I've pulled out the elements that I don't want cut. Okay, so then I run it through my Big Shot as normal, and that then just cuts away the oval portion that needs to be cut and leaves the leaves, in this case they are leaves, and berries that I didn't want to have cut. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please leave me a message and I will try and explain it further. But I hope that if you just go back and watch it, you may kind of get a better understanding. So then remember to rub away your pencil lines before you start then decorating and doing whatever you need to do. So I kind of took inspiration from the colours that I used to colour in. As I said, I used the Stampin' Blends and they were an absolute joy to use. Haha, joy, colouring in joy, and it was a joy. And I then grabbed different coloured cardstock that either matched or was a contrast to the colours I used and put them in kind of little piles. So I basically wanted to create something that would be like a hanging, so I went for using the normal kind of card size that I would go for, which is in the UK about an A6 or quarter of the size of an A4 piece of cardstock, and just trimmed off the corners. And as you saw with my trimmer, I just marked up to the 3 centimetre mark and just cut off from 3 centimetres down to a point. So once I had done all that, I then started to assemble all my bits and pieces that I'd cut out. Now, as I said, these are quite detailed decorations. They were in planning for maybe a couple of weeks. I spent some time colouring one night, and then another night I cut out lots of elements. So although you're watching a condensed version, I promise you that this project is quite a labour intensive one. So it's a really nice one item to make for people who are going to really perhaps treasure what you're giving them, and maybe put this decoration away and bring it out again next year and it become part of their Christmas decor. So here I am shaping some of the leaves that I'd cut out to further decorate this piece. I've gone for some quite unusual colour schemes. in the end, when I look at all the colour schemes, I kind of thought, oh gosh, this is really quite retro. But yeah, I thought they were quite fun. Yes, some of them are not very Christmassy, but they're just fun. So this one here that I'm using is quite a Christmassy colour theme, and I used the buffalo check background stamp. I was trying to think of the name of it then, to stamp that. I think it was in grey granite, that piece, which kind of calmed the whole piece down. So I was glad I did do that in a more of a neutral colour. And then use the swirly frames. I think they're called swirly frames or swirly. Anyway, it's a set that goes with Swirly Bird. The dies to cut out these circular doodles, as it were, and cut them in half because, you know, what's the point of wasting a whole one when, you know, why cut out two when you need to cut out one? And chop them in half and kind of place them behind the central portion. Then I decided I wanted to just bring a darker element to it, and normally I wouldn't use, you know, black like this for something Christmassy, but it just seems to work. It's a really nice contrast against the lovely limey lemon lime twist green and I think it was the Poppy Parade red that I used for this. And so there you go, it works. So now for this one, I wanted to add a bit of interest around the edges of the cardstock, because I had a play putting all the elements on and just felt it was a little bit bare. So I decided to use the edge of the Noel stamp, which comes in that set, and deliberately just inked up the leafy portion to the bottom or to the top of the Noel, and lined it up with my grid paper, and then before stamping it down I had a look to see how far across it was on my block, and stamped just down the edges, which I think worked quite well. It's really good to look at stamps sometimes and think how else you can use them, so I was really pleased to kind of utilise the stamp in that way rather than just colouring it in. So the lovely blue lacy cutout there is from the Beautiful Layers Framelits dies, and there are some really pretty little leaves in there, and I cut those out in a grey, I think it was smoky slate, and then just added that. It's a very kind of pastel-y, soft looking colour scheme to go with the very pale greens, and I think I did the berries in light flirty flamingo, so it's all very soft and gentle, this colour scheme. Very wintry, I guess, as well. And then at this point I decided to add some pearls to lift it a little bit, and then I ended up putting some pearls, I think, on pretty much all of the hangings then. So I grabbed the Specialty Designer Series paper, the laser cut lace. I realised I hadn't used it for quite a while, so I thought, oh, this would be quite nice as a bit of a background. And I just tore the pieces with my hands because I wanted a very jagged edge. I didn't want it to be too clean an edge, and I ended up actually tearing it in half because I wanted it to stretch further across the whole of my banner. And I'd already pre-cut some of the dies from the stained glass Framelits dies. I'm not sure if that's exactly what they're called, but I think you know what I mean. And the detail on those Framelits are absolutely beautiful. I should say thinlits, really, they're not Framelits. And then use leaves from the Flourish Thinlits set. I love those leaves, and I cut those out in Mossy Meadow to kind of pick up on some of the green that I'd used in what I'd coloured in. So as I said, I decided to add extra gems and pearls, and the red crystal gems are just gorgeous. They're in the current autumn winter catalogue, and they're great for adding to Christmas projects. So then I found ribbons and bits and bobs. I think I used the black sequin trim, the mini sequin trim for this one, which will seem to work well. And although I used Daffodil Delight card, I used the Pineapple Punch ribbon for this, which is fine, it matches. And the Fresh Fig ribbon, which I yeah, I didn't use fresh fig in that, but it seems to tone fine. And the ombre lemon lime twists ribbon works really well with this one. So thank you very much for watching. And if this is the first time you've come across the Christmas Challenge Stampathon, please click on the link below this video and go straight to my Facebook page about it all and join in the fun. So take care for now and hope to see you again soon. Bye!